So let's talk about Mumbai. It's a city built on this incredible economic power and, even bigger human ambition. But if you really look close, there's this fascinating paradox at its heart that doesn't just define Mumbai. It kind of tells the story of how cities are growing all over the world. Let's get into it. Okay, let's just jump right in with a number that's, well, it's pretty mind-blowing. Mumbai, just this one city, is responsible for about 6% of the entire GDP for India, a country with over 1 billion people. I mean, think about that. This isn't just a city, it's the economic engine of the entire nation. All right, first up, we've really got to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this place. We're talking about the financial, commercial, and industrial heart of the country, all rolled into one. And look at this comparison right here. The Mumbai metro area has more than 20 million people, sure, but it produces a full quarter, 25% of India's entire industrial output. That is an insane concentration of productivity, and it really explains why the city acts like such a powerful magnet for people. So, you might be asking, where does all this energy, all this labor, come from? Well, it comes from what we call the Great Migration. This whole economic boom is fueled by a constant human tide of people who built and are still building this incredible metropolis. To really get it, you have to look at what are called push and pull forces. The push was happening out in the countryside. The Green Revolution, which brought new tech to farming, was great, but it also meant fewer jobs were available on the land. And the pull? Well, that was the irresistible lure of Mumbai, with its booming factories and service industries all promising jobs and a shot at a different kind of life. So how did all that movement forge a modern economy? It wasn't just random. Nope. It was guided by some very specific government policies and the huge range of industries that really came to define the city we see today. And the economy here is just so diverse. You've got everything from heavy industry like chemicals and engineering to a massive banking and tech sector. It's home to giants like Reliance Industries and, of course, the one and only Bollywood, which is famous all over the world and is a cultural and economic powerhouse all on its own. This growth also got a major boost from national policy. Back in 2014, the Make in India initiative was launched. It basically simplified a lot of rules to make it easier for foreign companies to set up shop and manufacture here. For a place like Mumbai, which was already a huge business hub, this was like pouring gasoline on a fire. It just drew in even more global investment. But here's where this story gets a lot more complicated. Because running alongside all the gleaming skyscrapers and official industries, there is a huge parallel economy. We're talking about the informal sector, jobs that aren't on the books, not registered, not taxed, but are absolutely vital to how the city actually works. And to really understand this informal economy, we have to zoom right in on the Rabi. Now, you've probably heard it called one of the world's largest slums, but honestly, that label just doesn't do it justice. It is so much more than that. It's truly a city within a city, and it's a perfect microcosm of both Mumbai's biggest challenges and its incredible, incredible resilience. And let's be totally clear, the living conditions here are incredibly difficult. I mean, we're talking extreme overcrowding, maybe up to 1 million people living in just over 2 square kilometers. Access to the basics, stuff like clean water and toilets, is really limited, and that, of course, creates some serious health risks for the people living there. But, and this is the paradox I was talking about right at the beginning, in spite of all those challenges, Dharavi is an economic beehive. The estimated economic output from this tiny area is in the hundreds of millions, maybe even over $1 billion every single year. It's just staggering. And this just shows you the unbelievable entrepreneurial spirit that exists here. Dharavi is a hub for thousands of small-scale businesses. It's famous for its leather goods, for its pottery, for textiles, but its recycling industry is absolutely critical. It processes a huge chunk of Mumbai's waste, turning trash into raw materials. It's a vital, if unofficial, part of the whole city's infrastructure. So this all brings us to the central conflict that this community is facing today, what we call the redevelopment dilemma. How do you improve the living conditions for people without completely destroying the very things that make this place work? And this really gets to the core of the debate. On one side, of course, redevelopment promises things everybody wants, modern high-rise apartments with proper sanitation and running water. But on the other side, the residents have some really serious concerns. They worry it'll destroy their livelihoods because their businesses are literally in their homes. They worry it will shatter the social networks that act as their safety net, and many are just afraid they won't even qualify to get a new place. And this leaves us with a huge question, one that goes way beyond Mumbai. It's a challenge that growing cities all across the globe are grappling with. How can a city modernize? How can it improve its infrastructure without pushing out the very communities and informal economies that are, in so many ways, its very lifeblood?